Hey everyone, so Lost Centuria just came out today, and I wanted to familiarize you guys with the most important mechanic in the game, which is countering. Now the concept is quite simple, but there is a lot of strategy in it. In this video, I'll show you some ways to counter to your advantage. Before going through the types of countering, I first wanted to show you this clip, where the enemy surrendered because of how well I was able to use the counter mechanic. Here, the enemy Ramagos uses a skill to finish off mine, but here comes my counter, allowing my Ramagos to go first and create my first big advantage. Next, I counter with Jean to heal my Ramagos a little bit, allowing me to use my Mykeen to heal my almost dead Ramagos and cleanse my team. Now notice how I countered after the enemy skill, not before it. This cleanses the debuffs he just put on me. After this move, it was pretty much game over. Here, I wanted to counter and defense break the Copper before he used the skill, since Copper relies on having high defense. But I was actually too slow in clicking and ended up countering after his attack. Now, the idea is still there, I just needed to react faster. When a skill is used, there are three options to make: countering before the skill, countering after the skill, or nothing at all. They each have their own advantage and should all be used throughout your match. However, to master this, you need quick thought process and quick reflexes. First, let's see an example of countering before the skill. In this case, you have to press your skill before the enemy starts their ability animation. However, if you take too long, you might end up countering after the skill, like here. Or here, I wanted to counter Shannon before her skill to stun her, but I was too slow. This one was actually pretty sad. I was too slow and countered after Lucian used the skill, so my stun wasn't that useful. In cases where a skill uses multiple attacks, you might counter during the ability, like here, where my Mykeen went in between the attacks. Now why would you want to counter before an enemy skill? The first one is to stun the attacker. It stops them from using their skill and it wastes their mana. The second one is healing or applying buffs to your defender to allow them to survive the attack. Finally, the third one is to kill the enemy. Now we have a special showcase welcoming Ramagod, who can do both killing and healing. Alright, that's enough of Ramagod's showcase. Next, I'll show you countering after the skill. In this case, you press your skill after the enemy has started their skill. Now why would you want to counter after an ability? Now the first reason would be for cleansing. If you use it before the enemy uses his debuffs, then you're not cleansing anything and you're just wasting your skill. The second reason would be if you're confident in your monster surviving, you can heal after the enemy attacks. Finally, you would want to counter after a skill simply to just match the amount of skills being used so that you and the enemy have a similar mana pool. The last option you have is not using any ability at all to counter. This one is simple. When an enemy uses a skill, you just don't react with the skill. It's more complicated and harder to master, but reasons why you would want to do nothing at all is having mana advantage. By having mana advantage and by keeping track of your enemy's mana pool, you could create a situation where the enemy cannot counter an important skill because they don't have enough mana. Now before I end, I wanted to show this clip. Both of us made mistakes, and the decision of the match actually ended up being from the counter mechanic. With my Hua, I was able to counter and kill the Kali before she unleashed her deadly skill. If you pay attention, you see I'm just reacting to my opponent, only countering if possible. I tried to steal the buffs here with Soha's skill, but it got resisted. I hate when that happens, although I'm not sure what the resist rate is since this game just came out, but it seems to be happening quite often. Here I counter with my Keen skill to remove the debuffs and heal my Orion. However, here was my mistake. I got antsy and decided to use my Hua skill, allowing Ramagos to counter with clean shot and heal. If I waited, I could have stunned him instead with my 1 mana skill. So you can see I'm hovering the skill now, because I know he will use it again. But my reaction was too late. I was able to get it off before I stunned him. I decided to use my Hua because I knew I had to kill him as soon as possible. Luckily it came back up in time for me to counter his Ramagos before it killed my Soha and healed back to full. I would have lost if that happened. Anyways, that is the end of my guide to the simple but important mechanic of Lost Centuria. If it was helpful at all, please like and subscribe. I'm really enjoying the release of the game and I'm planning to make more content for you guys. Anyways, that is all from me. I'll see you guys next time.